Welcome to the Thriving Tides podcast. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Julianne. If you're an entrepreneur or busy individual looking for self-care ideas, you're in the right place.
And we can't wait to share our experiences with you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the closet. I am super excited about today's episode. Today, we are talking about sales funnels. You might also heard of them as marketing funnels. I call them brand funnels. There's kind of a couple different names for them, and they all have a couple different purposes for each of those. But I'm actually really excited to talk about this one because I'll actually be doing a workshop in the future on this topic, which is actually really exciting as well. So I am definitely excited to dive into sales funnels.
Absolutely. We have our own little expert right here. So that's great.
I'll see that imposter syndrome right away. As soon as you said expert, I'm like, oh gosh, now I have to be like perfect.
Okay. No, we're not expecting perfection from you.
But now that we did the imposter syndrome episode, I feel prepared.
Exactly. Right? And it's cool. This is like prep for you for that upcoming workshop. So that's great. I mean, I know the knowledge is already there, but sometimes speaking the words out loud versus going through them in your head or building your beautiful worksheets that you love, things like that. This just helps you put words to it. So
exactly.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So sales funnel, marketing funnel, branding funnel, whatever you want to call it. How exactly would you define it?
Oh, man. So a sales funnel is, in a sense, a step-by-step process that pretty much allows you to bring your potential customer a little bit closer to actually making that purchasing decision. So there's a couple different aspects that you can do. So there's a couple marketing strategies you can implement. There's a couple sales tactics that you can also implement. And then, yeah, it's just basically getting people from figuring out, like, who you are to actually making that purchase.
Okay.
So literally like a funnel, a visual. If you think about a funnel and you're pouring something from the top, you know, there's a reason why they call it a funnel.
It actually looks like that. So it starts like with that really big segment, right? So you're at the top of the funnel where it's the widest, and that could be like any person out there that's a potential customer.
Yeah.
And then obviously they're not all going to become customers, sadly.
Yes.
I mean, if they do, tell me your ways.
Yeah.
But then it gets smaller and smaller as you work through the funnel.
Exactly.
And then it's the sale. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense, I think.
Yeah.
Although it makes sense, but it's not easy to do.
And then you start to read into it and look at, like, especially if you go on YouTube or Pinterest, like, this is the perfect funnel and this will solve all your funnel problems. But it's so not true. Each funnel is so different to each business because each person is trying to target a different person. You know what I mean? So whenever you see those, be a little bit cautious, get inspiration from those, but don't think that that's going to solve your whole entire problem. You know, like, for example, if your customers aren't really engaging with your Instagram, why would you do a whole entire Instagram, like, funnel?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that just, it wouldn't connect, and then you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that people miss when it comes to funnels is they put it all together of what they should put together for a funnel because they did a quick Google search on it. But they did miss the most important steps, which is finding and defining who your customers are. You know, do that customer profile.
Right.
And who are you trying to target in this funnel? You know, again, we can't be everything to everyone, nor should you market to everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's kind of fun to do the funnels because you can build different kinds of funnels as well, which I think is kind of, that's like a whole different ballgame. But just start with one.
Start with one.
Funnel.
Yeah, one funnel.
Yeah.
You get all these different, I'm like seeing twisters, tornadoes, like that's what my funnels are turning into, and they're making me feel like, ah.
Well, they tend to make people feel like they're twister funnels instead of like fun sales funnels, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of moving parts. And I think, again, when you look into sales funnels and watching the videos and stuff like that, a lot of these sales funnels have like a bajillion different steps and a bunch of different things that you need to do. But at the end of the day, you can also just do this most simple, basic sales funnel. Start small and then add on to your funnel. You know, because some people think that you have to create your funnel to a strategic plan, set it, and it has to be, you just stick with it. But it's one of those things that's it's very mutable. So you need to edit, you need to fix it, you need to look at your analytics, and
it's not just a one and done.
Exactly.
But important to, so if you haven't listened to our episode about finding your niche,
yes,
episode 31, go back and do that first. Because if you don't know who you're talking to, then your sales funnel is definitely not going to be effective.
Exactly.
That's what I'm understanding from you.
And like, you don't have to necessarily be niched too, but when you are defining your niche or where your sweet spot is, then you define your customers usually as well.
Yeah.
Right?
It all goes together.
Exactly. So like, technically I currently don't have a niche per se, but at the end of the day, I know exactly who I'm trying to target and who I would rather work with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I know my mission. I'm not trying to change my value and my marketing standpoint to be, you know, trying to get people that are in the meat industry, for example. A lot of my clients are predominantly female, and I like it that way because I prefer working with females. No shade to the men out there. It's just I prefer those relationships. And yeah, I think even just starting at that point, just the simplest of who are you talking to, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to learn, I feel like. So can we, maybe a great way to do this is like work through the stages of a sales funnel. So you were saying we start like, I'm like trying to embody a sales funnel right now. We start at the top where it's the most wide, and that's like you're building your awareness. You're kind of like out there seeing what's going on, seeing like what's something that'll like catch people's eye and be like, oh, I need to know more about Summer Street Creative.
Exactly. You're building up the traffic. So getting the eyes on you. I usually tell people it usually takes around about 9 touch points for a person to start interacting with a brand to the point where they're ready to possibly getting that lead magnet, or they're ready to take the next step. You know what I mean? Some people automatically will skip the 9 touch points, but for the most part, you need to build that, even just that relationship of getting people like to know who you are so that you're in mind, right? So definitely building your traffic is where you need to start. Some people build traffic by doing ads, so paid ads. A lot of people that are really trying to get faster growth will do ads, especially when they're targeted and they know, again, going back to your customer profiles, they're targeted so that whenever they put money in, they're not putting it just like aimlessly. Another way is to do contact marketing, or content marketing, sorry, and contact marketing. What is that?
Do we have to do an episode about this?
Yes. So contact marketing. Well, technically, contact marketing could actually be like what we do at the podcast, where we bring people in, and when our guests come in, technically that would be like another way to build traffic, because it's a whole new audience that you're putting yourself in front of.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Makes sense.
So like, for example, if like we had a bunch of loyal listeners and we brought in a guest that they never knew but they connected with just because they were listening to us, that could be an opportunity for them to get new traffic. Right. So that's why we were like, oh, how do they find you? Where do they find you on social media? Right.
Yes.
So like, go on to those things, talk at workshops, try to go to, I know we can't network right now, but even like networking events where you can either sponsor the event or, you know, lead the event or something, do a little mini talk or something. Again, it's just getting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And it is true, you don't have to pay for ads, but it is, when people are really trying to push their funnel, you'll see a lot of ad marketing.
Yeah. I think that's the struggle, right? It's often, I mean, if we're just learning what a sales funnel is, we probably don't have a really big marketing budget.
Exactly.
So the thought of having to put in ads, like, I know when I was first starting my business, I was working with a coach, and she was like, so you need to be prepared to spend like, it was like thousands of dollars. She was advising me to need to put into this sales funnel. And my resistance went up immediately. And then I just didn't even want to do it because I was like, I don't have that money. And if I can't, you know, and well, if I can't do it, if I can't pay for it, I guess I can't do a good job of it. And then I kind of just convinced myself that it wasn't worth doing it at all.
Yeah.
But like, I'm guessing you can still have success without spending a ton of money. It may just be a little bit harder.
Oh,
right?
100%. And the thing is, whenever you buy ads, it's a risk. You know, it's not unless And the thing is, there's a reason why there's a lot of people that make a lot of money, just helping people with that aspect of their business, because it is such a risk, but you need to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you need to know your customer so well, because you're literally, trying to be right in mind. Now, there is like things where you can do like retargeting ads, where it's kind of nice because they've already visited your website, so they already have an inkling of who you are, and those can kind of help. But if you're trying to, again, build new traffic, that can get a little bit risky in a way.
Makes sense.
But yeah, ads is like a whole different thing, because there's social media ads, but then there's also like Google ads, and that's a whole other thing too.
That'll be another episode.
And even then I'd want to bring in like an expert, because I know the basics, but it's like the Wild West.
There's a lot to it. And like the way that Google works, I was on a workshop today actually. And they were like, they change their algorithm and their stuff, I think like 500 plus times a year. So that's more than once a day that they're like updating their algorithms and how things work. So you need to be very niched into knowing what Google is up to stay on top of that. And even then, if that was the only thing you did, I'm like, how do people even stay on top of it?
Exactly.
Wow.
And it always changes too. But anyways, before
we're tangent city tonight, so don't mind us, but it's all relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is that a lot of people, when they are going to Google sales funnels, that may come up. So it's always something I do like to touch on, because it's like you don't necessarily have to do that. You just try more grassroots, like put blog posts out there and put it on Pinterest. You know what I mean? If you're trying to get global eyes on it instead of just local eyes. So, and I could go on for like a whole bunch of other ideas of how to build organic traffic, but we aren't going to talk about that today.
But we got to keep moving down the funnel.
Yes, exactly. We can't stick in the funnel for too long.
So we're starting to like narrow down now, and like how do we do that? What does that look like?
So the next step is what we would call like the lead generation, right? So there's people that they're kind of following you on your social media. They're aware of who you are, but you haven't really... like, they haven't interacted with your brand on any other level. So this is where you're going to want to put like either like a freebie. So you'll probably see like those PDFs, like free workbook.
Masterclass.
My worksheets.
Worksheets, yeah.
Exactly. Another thing you could do is like intro offers too, like $5 to have like a masterclass. You know what I mean? It's still, that one's kind of nice because you do get a monetary gain out of it, and more people will actually... The cool thing with like when people put money, the chances of them actually showing up and doing the thing is much more than like a webinar. And that's another one, a webinar. You can do challenges. So for example, I saw a lot of people that were in fitness businesses at January. They did a fitness challenge.
Right.
And a lot of people, that's when like things kind of start to pick back up. And so that was perfect, because then they were able to get fresh new eyes. And usually people are sharing that kind of content too, right? So that's when you're just, again, you're kind of starting to build that relationship, and you're giving them something at a small value, like So it's not something that they're going to have to pay for a lot of money.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's either free or very low cost.
Exactly.
Just to kind of nab them in. And does that come back to that? Like, I was thinking that know, like, and trust when you said earlier, that I found when I first entered social media, thinking about it as a business, I heard that everywhere.
Yeah.
But you want to become that authority figure or that expert, if that doesn't trigger your imposter syndrome, but to show them like, hey, I know what I'm talking about, or I've got the perfect product for you or service or whatever it is, gives them that little sample.
Exactly. It's positioning yourself as that person to go to, so that if someone else has another offer and yours is just a little bit more, that they're going to pay the little bit more to be like, I need to work with her, or I need to buy what she's offering or he's offering, because that looks awesome, you know? Because that's the thing too, like at the end of the day, we are technically competing for that sale in a sense.
Yeah.
So like it's, again, just differentiating yourself from the people. And again, it always goes back to like brand positioning, right? So I definitely agree with that.
Cool. There's so much. I was thinking about this too, of like a lead magnet, and it's a big, I'm guessing the lead magnet, or that might be jargony too, right? So like that thing that attracts.
Yes.
So that is what we were just explaining, like the freebie, the workshop, the webinar, whatever. Coming up with the right one is key as well. And that goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of knowing your customer and like what is something that they're going to say like, oh, I really, really need that.
Exactly.
I don't know why I'm whispering.
I really
this
need
is
that
my
thing.
ASMR.
Exactly. And sometimes it's hard because people think that they know what they want, what other people know what they want. That's so weird. But
Say
like,
that again.
so often
Yeah.
I'll get people that they're like, hey, Steph, can you create me this PDF for this customer? And I'm just like, okay, sure, I'll read it through. And then I'm noticing like they're talking about their story and it's them and like what they would want to do. But again, like at the end of the day, people are selfish. They want to know about them. Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't care about you, you know? So I had to like kind of do the brutally honest, like, hey, so we're going to get rid of half of this story. Like we're going to cut it down to this paragraph and we're going to put some other things that offer value that they're going to be like, okay, I actually want to finish this worksheet, for example.
Right.
And that's another thing too, like do the survey, do a poll on Instagram, ask the questions, actually get proper feedback. Don't ever assume that you know what your client wants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Actually ask the question. Time. You're literally wasting your time. And unfortunately, like, I'm just gonna give the honest like story. They had actually said, no, I just want to do this. Like, I know this is what they want, whatever. I did the thing because at the end of the day, I'm a designer. I'm just gonna, I gave my expertise opinion and whatever. Do it. And sure enough, they came back and said, well, we're going to make a couple tweaks because I'm not getting any people added to my list, you know? And that's the thing. It's a kind of a give and take. And even if you do ask, sometimes you're still missing something from it. Like maybe the way that you ask or invite people to join your email list is just a little bit wrong. And that, again, it goes back to your analytics. From every single touch point in your funnel, you should always look at your metrics, you know?
Right. So what's the conversion from here to here to here? Like each different step along the way.
Exactly.
How many are dropping off, right? Like you're going to expect to see a certain amount.
Exactly.
But if you never get anyone to the sale, something's not working.
Exactly.
There's a kink in your funnel, or
there's a hole in your funnel.
That reminded me of there's a hole in my bucket.
There's a hole in my bucket.
Childhood memories.
Oh man.
So it's interesting when you think about like the sales funnel as a whole unit. It's almost like once it's set up, although you do need to tweak and stuff like that, it's not necessarily like passive income, but it's like it's this thing that like takes a lot of time to figure it out and get it there, and you might tweak it a little bit, but once it's like set and it's working, it's then you're like, okay, you can ease off a little bit in a sense. I might be wrong because I don't have one, so I don't maybe I'm hoping that is what it looks like. Or then are you looking at like what are some other funnels to bring in, or like does it always have to be like a lot of work?
So it doesn't have to be a lot of work, but it's not like a passive income where for the most part you just put up a lot of information and you can kind of forget it. Because I think it's kind of one of those things that it's like a strategy, right? Yes, you can add automation tools so you can get things like the Zapier, set up like a bunch, like schedule a bunch of emails and stuff like that because you could batch content and stuff. But at the same time, you're still, again, the next part of the funnel is nurturing. So that's when you're actually going to have to interact and have real conversations with your people, build that relationship and that trust. And like usually that's where like you'll have like the private groups or like the private lives if you join those groups.
Right.
And you are doing that other upfront work, right? Because you're still trying to get traffic. So that's another thing too. Like you're kind of, people think of the funnel like I just start from the top and then I just can work down, but it's like you're kind of working every step of your funnel all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like
The other people are just in one step at a time, but you have to be everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like, and that's the thing too, like a lot of people, I'll do marketing plans for them and I will do a full entire funnel. Like, this is great. I can just do this. I'm like,
No
no,
problem.
but you need to actually like work at it and you have to, because I can create it for you and I can plan it for you. But at the end of the day, if you're not actually doing the hard work, it's useless.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, again, people need to be told what their next step is, you know? That's why you'll get like those retargeted ads when you've looked at that shoe like 5 times. You know what I mean? Because it's reminding you to be like,
once.
I know that you wanted to purchase this, so why aren't you purchasing it yet? And like that can also go for like service-based as well, where people obviously were attracted to what you were saying because they took your lead magnet.
Right.
But they're just not ready to make the full commitment. So first you have to ask yourself, like, why are you making that commitment? Or maybe you just need to nurture that relationship a little bit more because they're still having that buyer doubt. You know what I mean? Especially like, and that's the thing too, if you're a service-based business and your price point is significantly high. And another thing too is if it's high and you also haven't gotten that social trust yet, so like you don't have too many reviews, like you're still building your content and stuff like that, that lead nurturing is super important, right? Because again, you're building that relationship, you're building that trust, that when you say, hey, do you want to pay X amount of dollars, that's really high.
5,000.
5,000. Yeah, let's just put 5,000. You want to pay $5,000. Then it's a much easier ask. Right. And then they're already feeling like, okay, like I feel comfortable in the situation. I know that no matter what, if I get $5,000, they've already given me so much more value that ask is so much easier. You know?
Yeah. And like what's coming to mind for me right now too is that I can imagine a lot of entrepreneurs getting that scarcity mindset of, well, I can't give away too much for free because then what left will they pay for, right? But it's such the opposite is what I hear from so many branding experts out there. It's like, give it all away.
Yeah.
Right? Like just put it all out there because then you don't have this weird like defensive or like closed off oh no, like only the best for the people who are going to pay me the top dollar. Obviously you're going to show up in different ways for them, or, there's something extra. And of course I'm talking service-based mostly because that's
what we are.
We are. But products, there's samples and things like that you could do too. Those cost a little bit more money. I'm getting off track again, Tangent City. But it can feel very scary to think, well, if maybe they'll just take all my free stuff and then they'll never hire me.
But I'm going to flip that.
Please do.
So if you're not giving all that free stuff and you're not offering any value, but your competitor is, and they then say, oh, they're offering me more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then your scarcity mindset is just kind of, again, flip-flop, because now they're already being like, okay, feeling kind of weird about this. I asked you a question and you're not really giving me a straight answer. This person is giving me like everything with open arms, everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, yes, there is going to be some people that will take your freebie, sign up for your email list and then unsign up. I see it all the time. And it's really frustrating. It's just like people will like you on social media and then unfollow you in a week because they want to get their numbers up. There's going to be people like that out there, and that's okay. It's more so like I always tell people, even if you get that one really good lead, you know what I mean? That can make a difference. And I think so often, again, like we do get, I understand that scarcity mindset, and I feel like that sometimes too, well, all the time. But like at the same time, it's like if you're doing your funnel right and you're still, again, building those relationships, even if people aren't ready yet, maybe they do need to sit in the middle of your funnel for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That's okay. Once they are ready to make that decision, it's going to be a great relationship. You know what I mean? Because again, then another flip to it too is if you're service-based in business and you've positioned yourself as that expert. You know what I mean? You're not then the task person, and that's something that I've also kind of noticed too. Like people that I have interactions with that will watch my like lives or read my blog posts or go onto my YouTube videos and stuff like that. And when they hire me, they're just like listening to me because they're like, oh my goodness, I know you're an expert at this. Like, whatever you want to do, let's do it.
I've already heard you say so much. And yeah.
Exactly. There's that trust because they know that that's exactly, I can give them exactly what they need. You know what I mean? But then I have gotten it where some people find me off of Google My Business and they just want a logo designer and they're questioning me every 2 seconds because they haven't understood that I am like a professional in my industry.
Right.
You know, and that could be another thing too. Like there's a kind of a catch-22 to all that. But
yeah.
So one of the biggest ways to like nurture your audience, which I think we've already mentioned a couple times, is like doing the emailing lists. You know,
the email list,
right? And it's kind of one of those things where a lot of people, and even I said it's kind of dying, and it's true. A lot of people are a little bit more aware of their email list, but once you're there and you start building that connection, and it's like the perfect fit because they're in that process of trying to build their brand, for example, for me, or if they're trying to look for a coach or whatever you're in, you know what I mean? Or even just as a product-based business to say, hey, there's a sale going on, use this coupon right away.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much opportunity in email lists, and I think that's like when you look at sales funnels, emailing lists are like a huge part of it.
Yeah, I could see that. I like going back to that example I shared earlier, the coach who wanted me to spend all the money. It was an email funnel, is like we were doing like email marketing too. So I even wrote all the emails. I did nothing with them. But that was a big learning curve in itself.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do you write them and then send them? And because I'm on the receiving end of so many. Yeah. As all of us are. Yeah. And there's a lot that I'll unsubscribe to. And sometimes I'll subscribe to my competition to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Which is great. Right?
That's such a good idea.
Because sometimes it's just like, so what are they consistently talking about and why? And I've gotten past getting like hung up on it or getting like awkward and competitive about it, but coming at it from curiosity and just interest, right? And also like I can probably learn something from them too.
It's true.
In fact, not probably, I can, you know, because everyone's so different.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't suggest it if you're really struggling with imposter syndrome, because I have done that where I've signed up and then I'm like, oh, I'm feeling really down. But like
especially
you're saying,
if they're really on their game.
Exactly. Like, oh, I should be doing this too. And oh, no, I can't do this because obviously they're doing it much better than I could ever do it. But I do like what you said, that you go into it with a curiosity mindset instead of a I'm going to compare myself mindset. So that's just something like if you are going to do that, which I do suggest, because yes, I agree, it's a great way to know what's being talked about too, so then you're not overlapping as well, which I think is a huge thing too.
True. Yeah. It's like, okay, so if I'm saying all the same things that they are, maybe I haven't differentiated myself enough, or because how would people then know which one to go to? Exactly. Things like that.
And the thing is, we always say like community over competition. Like it's not like you're trying to go in there to be like, I'm going to copy what they are doing and make it better. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's just seeing what they're doing and being, again, awareness in it.
Yeah. And is there like a magic formula to these emails? Because I know like sometimes when you first get the freebie, then there's kind of this like nurturing process, right? And then maybe you flow into their regular email marketing. Some people spam you, I want to say, like way too often, and then some are like on a weekly basis or monthly. How do you know how often you should be doing all of that?
It all goes back to analytics, baby. All about those metrics. No, it's true, because like, for example, if you've noticed that you're doing quite a bit of content and you're doing like calls to action in every single one and you're getting like lower subscribers, or they're not opening the email, then you know, okay, obviously what I'm doing is not great. You know, you're still good. Again, you're going to get the people that are just going to unsubscribe because they just want to clear their inbox. Or they're not, they've moved past what your offer is.
They got your freebie.
Or even they're past that point. Yeah. Right? Like maybe they're not building their business and they don't need a brand specialist. You know what I mean? Like maybe they felt like they have a good brand already. So, you know what I mean? And that's going to be one of it. But if you've noticed like a huge increase or jump, or I guess decrease in the sense, then it's telling you that this is not right.
Mm.
There's, again, so many articles and blogs of like, this is what you should do. But I think it's testing and listening to what people are saying. So for example, if you write a really good email and you did a certain title and you had like emojis and stuff, and that one had like a lot of opens, clicks, people replied, then you know, okay, this format is working for me. So stick with it. You know what I mean? I like to follow, and this is what works for me when I did do my email subscriptions. I am going to do them again. I've just been kind of, in the podcast world lately, but I am going to go back to Summer Street Creative email lists because I do like doing that. But I liked the offering at least 2 to 3 emails of just value, where like I'll have my contact information, but I'm not asking anything right away. You know what I mean? Like I'll
book a consultation or
exactly, like I'll put my like social media and I'll have everything there so that if they do really like it and they have further questions, I'll be like, oh, just message
just
me.
a simple click.
Exactly, it's just a simple click. But then the like after the 2 to 3, I'll have a call to action that's really strong. You know what I mean? And even then, sometimes I'll even do more value because I just feel like I need to offer more value. You know what I mean? Or like when I was really, really busy and I couldn't take on more clients, I'll put in more value because I'm just not ready to take in people just yet.
Yes.
That was when I was like really busy, but
yeah, comes and goes, right?
Exactly.
And so you led me to another question, which I'm full of today.
Hey.
How do you so you haven't been doing a lot with your Summer Street email list?
No.
Do you acknowledge that? I asked you this question like a while back, I think around Christmas when we were talking about social media and like taking a break or whether it was intended or not. And like when you come back, it's like, hey guys, I'm back. Would you do that again? Like I'm just going to ramble for a minute.
Do it.
Because I have an email subscription list as well.
Yeah.
It's not very large because I don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And it's been a very long time since I've sent anything. A lot of those people, I'm guessing, may not even be relevant to me anymore. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, right? So if you've taken a hiatus, would you expect that once you start sending things again, that could also instill a big unsubscribe movement, I'll say. So prepare yourself for it, I guess, too, right? And not just be like, oh man, like
I just came back.
They probably forgot they were even subscribed to me because I haven't sent anything in so long.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's something to, I guess, wrap my head around like once I get back to it too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so like for Summer Street, will you just like jump back in or will you kind of...
Yeah. I'll jump back in. For the most part, I'm kind of glad because I don't have a massive list, but the list I do have, they're actually really loyal. Like I have a pretty good click-through rate, which I'm really happy about because I will go on and I'll write like the last thing I did was talking about podcasts and if podcasts is the new blogs, and I did a whole entire thing and I got so many responses and people would reply back, and so I'm pretty lucky in that sense that I do have a pretty good following in that. And so I might do like a reintroduction sometimes, but I think I don't really need to do that at that point. You know, what I think I might do is offer another nugget of value. So like, for example, I might offer a new worksheet that I've been kind of working on, for example, as kind of, because I always like to push out worksheets, because if you're offering something too, that's kind of nice, because they're like, oh, I don't really want to, I kind of like to download this. I'm not going to necessarily unsubscribe for you after you've given me a free
download
thing.
and unsubscribe.
Yeah.
That's just rude.
Well, some people will do that too. And
yeah,
again, that's fine. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah. We have to protect our inbox as well because it can get overrun.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think we prefer to have people who want our emails than those who just delete them the second they see them anyway. Because then that's kind of giving us a false sense of what's really happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so what step are we at now talking about email lists, just to kind of bring us back to the anatomy of the funnel? Yeah.
So again, we're still at the nurture stage right now. Yeah. And again, so like, yes, the email subscriptions is a big one. Private groups is another. So like you'll see those Facebook groups. Yeah. That new one that's just started. Oh my goodness, what's it called?
Clubhouse.
Yeah, that's a new one. I haven't gone into it just yet.
I'm on there.
Are you?
But I've not used it yet.
Oh, wow. Surprised
But
you got an invite.
there was chatter in the Empower PEI group one day. Someone was asking about it, and then some people had invites. So
Fair.
I nabbed one. And I've like looked, but I'm a little confused on how it all works.
Exactly. But like it's pretty much...
But it's like, come listen to me chat.
Exactly.
I see that as someone who's looking to hit people like everywhere.
Yes.
Also, right? That's more of like a global brand, or, you know, looking for a really far reach.
Exactly.
May not be beneficial for someone who only wants to work with people here in PEI, for instance.
But yeah, and like, again, you're still in this part, you're also like, yes, you have those private aspects, but you're still kind of doing the polls on like Facebook or Instagram, for example, or questions that like, yes, they're sitting in the middle of your funnel and they're aware of you already, but you're still developing that conversation as well. Because I think that's another thing too. People are like, oh, they're already in my funnel, it's fine.
Yeah, it's good. It's like, yeah, but they might just flip right back out.
Well, and that's the thing too. I even wrote it in the notes. Is like, you can have a hot lead, but hot leads don't have to stay hot necessarily. They can go warm and then straight to cold, or they could just go straight to cold.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so often we think, oh yeah, I have a hot lead, that means it's a guaranteed sale, and it's like, nope, definitely not.
Nothing's a guarantee until the money is in the bank.
Precisely. Because like,
Let that be your lesson.
There's so many times where like people get upset at me because they're like, oh, I had a whole bunch of hot leads and they just went cold, and then I looked at their funnel and their call to action just didn't connect with their whole entire funnel strategy. You know, it didn't click. So then when they did the call to action, they just did not associate with it, and they didn't like it. Simple as that.
Fair. Yeah. It's just, and that I guess that's like when I was hoping that you just set it and forget it.
Yeah.
That comes back to the always looking, okay, well, where are the numbers really taking a big drop? And so then what's that missing piece there?
Exactly.
Always things to look at.
Exactly. So yeah, once you've kind of done a lot of nurturing, you're going to want to do quite a few call to actions. You know what I mean? Because it's the thing, like, a lot of people think that call to actions sound very salesy, but like I was saying, sometimes you have to direct people to the thing. You know what I mean? Have that email go out and say, hey, I have a couple openings, sign up today. You know, or this is at a discounted rate today, get it while you can. You know, have those call to actions that people are like, there's a little bit of urgency to them, and that people are like, yes, I need to do this. You know,
yeah, I could see that. Or it's even something you might have in like your back pocket for a random day. Like I noticed, like today was a snow day, and parents were home with their kids and things like that.
Yeah.
And there was a few people on there that this fit their brand. They were like, well, hey, since you're home, da-da-da, right?
Exactly.
So to be able to have that ready, and maybe they just thought of it
on the spot
then.
there.
Brilliant. I like to think it was well planned. But there's things like that could come up too, right? Where you're just kind of waiting for that right day, and then you can whip it out, and it really connects with people. Yeah,
exactly. And call to actions are kind of their own little thing as well. Because again, you don't want to spam call to action every single thing. That's too much. But
which is interesting. Before you go with your but, when you're like posting on social media, do you have to have a call to action all the time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're still kind of talking about emails, I guess. Are we? Or are we talking in general?
In general.
Now? Yeah.
So like, yeah, call to action be like on your Instagram, or I keep saying Instagram. I always go back to Instagram.
We love the IG.
Or like any social media,
you
know, or have that button on Facebook that's like, get it now or whatever.
Because I find some marketing or branding people say you must always have a call to action. But it doesn't have to be a sale, I guess.
I was going to say a call to action can always
be like, throw an emoji below to tell me how you're feeling.
Exactly.
And that's a call to action, but it's not like a go by right now.
Exactly. Okay. And then it's building that engagement, which is starting to build that relationship. Right?
It all makes sense. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle.
Yes, there very much is so. But one thing that is missed all the time, and we even missed it at the beginning of this conversation.
So we're just so excited.
Because we're just so excited to get into it. And it's the biggest thing that I see when starting a funnel, what is the goal?
Mm.
So you already defined who your customer is, you built your funnel, but what is the goal of this funnel?
Mm.
You know, so like, for example, I want to get 5 people signed up to my monthly brand management services, for example.
Right.
That gives it a metric to see if your funnel is, so that it's actually effective.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like so often we're like, I think we want this. You know what I mean? I think this is successful. And yeah, you'll probably get like a bunch of other different kinds of sales if you're a service or different products or something. Have like some kind of metric that you can try to get to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense for sure. I mean, anytime you're doing something with your business, you should have a goal behind it. Otherwise, why are you doing it?
Really though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to be that specific, like if you think about the SMART goals, right?
Yes.
So it's not just like, I want to get some new clients.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Everybody wants to get it.
But yeah, like I want 5 clients to sign up for this particular program that I've just launched.
Exactly.
Great. Very specific.
And it's realistic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't try to be like, I want to get 10 grand in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, you can try to manifest that all you want, but also let's be real. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So having a goal and then that brings it back to all of the messaging along with it too, right? So if this is the goal, I'm just going to keep going with a program that you're trying to sell, then the value that you're giving to should connect to that rather than be something completely different. Because then you're like bringing people in to talk about like bananas when your program is about pineapple.
Yeah, I love that. Let's talk about bananas.
They sometimes are green and sometimes they're yellow, and people are
get potassium.
Monkeys like them. Tastes really good in a smoothie. Okay. Stop.
Occasionally make bread. I can't stop now. Oh man,
I want a banana. But yeah, that goal is awesome for sure. And well, like I'm thinking right now at Chandler Coaches, we just started like our intensive marketing to fill our Experience Conscious Leadership virtual course in April. And we have a goal of how many people we want to get in it, right? So now we're working on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like a sales funnel, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not kind of like it. Maybe I just need to say, yes, this is our sales funnel.
Yeah.
Right. But we're doing like a programmatic buy. We're doing direct reach outs. We have our email marketing. We have our Facebook and LinkedIn. And, so there's lots of things happening, all hopefully coming down to this goal of hitting X number of people into the course.
Exactly.
But it's a lot of work.
It's a lot. And the thing is, too, I like when you're like, you don't want to label it a sales funnel. Because I think that there's like some kind of, people don't like to say that they're building sales funnels because it sounds like you're being like a icky sales tactic. You know what I mean? But people are actually doing sales funnels without realizing that they're doing sales funnels sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so for example, I had a client come in and we were talking about like her social media and she's like, oh yeah, I definitely need to get one of those sales funnels. I'm like, you do realize you already have a sales funnel. Like we can add some things to it to make it more impactful. We can kind of tweak a couple things to make it, more effective. But I'm just like, you have one. You don't realize you do, but you do.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we just don't label it that way, I guess, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's not, don't think that it's something like icky or anything like that. Because it's how you're trying to get people, because you got to look at it the sense of like, it's helping people. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. There's some people that take my information and they don't get my service. They go to Canva. And like I could look at it and be upset about it. But at the same time, they're also the people that when they know other people that are looking for designers, they'll be like, oh, you got to go to Steph.
Yeah.
Or they'll be the ones that will go to my workshops. Like it's a smaller value, but it's still they're still repping me in other ways that's still good for my business. Yeah. And like so off, like there's so many times where I've gotten a review on Google and they just went to my workshop and they're like, I need to give you like a good review.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? Or I just did like a quick little like design for them because they couldn't afford a larger project and they'd still give me the 5-star review because they were happy that I'm offering that value,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's, again, where you can kind of look at the human side of a sales funnel, that like, yes, you're not going to necessarily always get all the sales, and like it's not a miraculous tool that will fix everything.
Yeah.
But if you're helping people and you're being genuine about it and you're offering genuine value, you can't go wrong, you know?
Well, there's a balance to it. I mean, obviously, if you want to have a business,
Yeah.
you need to make money.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to use tools like
Yeah.
this that are going to help you do that. But also, like, it comes back to that, like, scarcity. Like, still give the value, help the people. Like, if you're doing, and again, I come back to service based, like, you're probably doing it because you love it.
Yeah.
So until you get enough paying clients for that to be taking up the majority of your time, still find ways to be like sharing what you want to do and spreading that love and that knowledge, because it's in you for a reason.
Exactly.
And yeah, you might not be giving people like one-on-one consultations and things like that, but there's other ways to be doing it.
Exactly.
That clearly still pay off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, like the sales funnel thing's interesting that so many people would have it and not know it.
Yeah.
And like, so would a sales funnel be also, like, I'm just thinking about us at Chandler Coaches again too. So like our goal is to get like a large number of people into this course.
Yep.
But then that becomes our population that we then try to like work into getting to our next course.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so there's kind of like funnel within a funnel. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally.
You're like looking at me like, yes, Julianne, this is true. This is nothing new. But yeah, so it's like you stop them. There might be a sale at one point, but then it kind of just keeps building from there. Or would that be like the upsell or something like that?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
So like the easiest way I can describe it is there's different segments in a sense. So like, for example, in Mailchimp, which is the subscription that I kind of use because it is lower cost to start out with, you can actually have like lists of certain people, for example, right?
Right.
So like I'm just going to go back to what I know, but like, for example, I have a list that's just people that are interested in my website stuff, right? There's a list of people that just want the marketing, and then so on and so forth. So like you could have your big funnel like at the top, like what you're saying, or there's a bunch of people, but guaranteed there's going to be different segments depending on what people are actually looking for and what they're connecting with, right? So how I divide it is, like, for example, is on my blog posts, and if I write something about, say, SEO on the subscribe to this email list, or subscribe to the email, it'll go to that list. So I have a couple different list segments, right? And so then that's like a funnel within a funnel in a sense, right?
Like that. Yeah.
So then
you can target them with messaging that they actually want to hear.
Exactly. So like I can then, so hypothetically, I give a whole bunch of free content about like search engine optimization and how to do basic UI, UX yourself, and so on and so forth, right? And then they're already feeling like, okay, I got a lot of value, but I still don't really want to go through the process of doing a whole entire website. Then I can go onto my email thing, have a call to action of, hey, I'm offering a free consultation or discovery call for said service.
Right.
Right. And so like same with like what you're talking about right now, like they're probably going to be segmented into different. And so it is a funnel within a funnel, in a sense.
Makes sense.
And that could be kind of easier to build that conversation and that copy as well, because then it's true, like when you're working to try to get the traffic, you're kind of doing your general customer profiles, because usually you have like about 3 customer profiles that you're trying to target, but then if you can actually segment exactly who you're talking about, it's so much easier. But that it does get really overwhelming and really complicated if you don't have like a set plan and a set strategy to build those, right? Because if you're trying to build that funnel within a funnel almost, which is kind of funny, we don't call it that marketing, but if you're trying to do that and you're trying to also like say that in your traffic, it can be mixed messaging and people won't associate with your branding at all.
Yeah.
In a sense.
So I guess it comes back to those goals too, right? And just being really clear, like, what am I trying to achieve here? So that
Exactly.
I'm not confused, my clients are not confused, and then the greater population is also not confused.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I say like it's a funnel within a funnel, but it's almost like a side funnel. That's
Little
easier
baby
to
funnels
yeah,
beside
little
the
baby
big mother funnel.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, and I don't really do it anymore because it's adding more work.
Right.
Right? Because again, you're creating a whole other set of different content. Especially if you are a multi-service base like I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
So much.
Yeah.
It's impactful though. I think it's important for business owners to understand this because I find, especially when you're getting started, it's like, where do I find the clients? Where do I get my customers? And this is a pretty standard approach that can be tailored to your business for whatever you're trying to do.
Exactly.
But start with those basics, like who am I talking to and what am I trying to accomplish?
Exactly.
Interesting.
So do you think you're going to define more funnels? And
You will always do this to me. Yeah. That wasn't a very convincing yes, was it? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I would like to. I don't know how soon it'll happen.
Yeah.
But I understand it better, and I understand that it doesn't need to be as complicated as we can easily make it seem in our minds. And that, you know, I could start simple and build from there. In fact, that's probably what I should do, or anyone who doesn't have anything established should do.
You can always easily add on. It's harder to take things out, especially if someone like really likes an aspect and you take it out. That's just not good.
Then they're like, where did
this thing go?
Right. I think with all the changes and just like learning and everything that I've had happening lately, there's so many different things I want to do for my business, including a sales funnel. Part of me wants to just like hit pause on work and life and everything and run away and have like a week that I could work on all of this. Because I think as an entrepreneur, that's the hard part, is like, when do you fit in the time? Or when do you find the time? Or like,
or
what
when
does
do
this
you
look
hire
like?
the
And
brand
when you hire,
person?
just, you know.
But like really though, if you are that busy,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. Anyways, sorry.
No.
I had to
Plug
do that
away.
cheeky
Plug
away.
But yeah, so it's just taking a bit of time to reflect and see, okay, where is my time best spent? And not like, because we always have to bring in the self-care also.
Yes.
Not killing ourselves trying to do all of these things. So if it's me getting downtime versus me building my sales funnel that I don't necessarily have clear direction in any way, I should take the downtime because that's going to help me find the clarity.
100%.
Right? So it's just like, we can't do it all at once. Sometimes we do need to hire the experts to help us or do it all for us. You know, there's little pieces too. I think people forget is that when you hire out, you don't necessarily have to hire out for the entire thing. You could get consultation to get help for you to do it. Like, I remember back when I was building my website and I couldn't afford somebody to do that, but you helped me along the way. Yeah. And that was really cool. So knowing that someone can just, you know, guide you or redirect you and things like that, there's lots of options to get that support. Exactly. So all of that to answer your question. A little roundabout.
I love it.
Yes, someday I will have a great sales funnel. Yeah. But it's going to take some time just to build into it, I think, and which is kind of fun.
Exactly.
But I'm guessing you probably have some stuff up your sleeve.
Uh-oh.
And I'm always subscribed to everything you do. So that's really fun too, because I get to see, how do you do it? And what do you have to share with us?
Yeah. So currently my sales funnel has been a little dusty. I haven't looked at her in a while. But that's the cool thing too, is like I said, you can kind of adjust things. And the thing, our businesses will always evolve. You know what I mean? Our clients will evolve.
And we will too.
The world evolves. Like, we're in a
Yeah.
pandemic. I'm sure everyone's sales funnel got switched up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Good point.
So I think that's another thing too. People think that you just create it once and it's fine. So I'm kind of in the cool process of rediscovering my sales funnel and like things that I like to do as well. So like, for example, I do really like creating videos, but writing the blog post to put on my website, it's a lot of work, right? So I'm trying to think, okay, how can I still offer that? Because I did have a lot of people liking that. I did get a lot of traction from it because of like SEO, which is search engine optimization. But at the same time, it's like, how can I still make that effective, but then I'm not spending hours writing an article? You know what I mean? Maybe I do ask to get some people to guest blog post, for example. I have a friend that does writing. I could ask her if she wants to do a couple articles for me. Again, hiring out is kind of nice too, because then you're not putting so much pressure on yourself. And again, like you're saying with the self-care thing too, it's actually taking care of yourself in a way because you just kind of delegate it. And it's one less thing that you can, okay, I'm going to go for a walk because I don't have to do that whole entire setup, right? But yeah, I'm kind of in the part of rediscovering how to get more traffic, which is really exciting because I have kind of a new traffic coming from like Thriving Tides, which is kind of cool too. So it's kind of cool because we have almost a kind of cool funnel where we can take Thriving Tides and then also put it to our businesses as well, which is kind of nice. Which you should always do too if like you are in something else. Always cross promote.
I love that. Pretty much everything I dabble in or have my fingers in is so connected.
Exactly.
So it makes sense.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing is I'm just kind of in the process of figuring out my messaging and making sure everything's really good. So then when I am ready, I can, and I've already kind of started to implement some things. Nice. Don't be like, just like when you start a business, you don't need to have everything together in order for you to launch it. You know what I mean?
That's a good message.
You can still put out like, try to get traffic, even though if you don't have the email subscriptions or if you're not ready to send emails out yet. Like, for example, we have an email list. So if you want to join, go on to our website that's currently under construction right now. But you can sign up there still, too.
And we have a freebie there, too.
So you can go check that out. But we're not ready to create that content just yet. Correct. But when we are, like, that's already going to be another aspect to our business that we're gonna have to figure out. So you can start collecting things and stuff like that. Yes, you're gonna get some people that are like, oh well, why am I signed up to an email subscription that hasn't started yet? But for the most part, people will just forget, and then maybe it'll just be a pleasant surprise one day.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's the biggest thing is don't think that you have to have everything together and that has to be perfect. Nothing is ever gonna be perfect.
And
nor should you
ever
make
strive
mistakes
for that along the way. Exactly. And that's how we learn and grow.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm excited though because I have so many plans and exciting stuff happening and
cool. I'm excited to see that. Well, I feel like I learned a lot from you tonight.
Yay! I feel like I talked this whole my like throat's kind of hurting because I'm like ah.
This is a heavy Steph one.
Yes,
but that's okay. And we'll pass it my way another time.
Yes, 100%.
But yeah, I'd love to hear from those of you who are listening or watching. We did do a little poll on Instagram also, and it was a very low number of people who actually have a sales funnel.
One person.
However, because you said some people may have them and not know. So we'll put that caveat
disclaimer
out there. But for those of you who are running your own business, let us know, like, what did you learn today that you could implement into an existing sales funnel, or did this inspire you to get your butt in gear and put one together? Just let us know what you're up to, and maybe there's a cool freebie that we want to sign up for, or some things that you got going on that we need to know about, or the rest of our listeners need to hear about too. So drop some notes.
I love freebies. I just think they're so awesome, and I love seeing what other people do too. I'm signed up to so many random shit sometimes. It's like I need all the things.
Why not?
And like if you guys have any other further questions on that too, honestly, subscribe to my email list.
Yes,
Some Street
got all the
Creative. And let's create a conversation. I love to talk about this stuff. So, and I do want to do more sales funnel, marketing funnel, brand funnels, conversations in my email subscriptions coming up soon too. So,
perfect. It's a place to be.
Exactly. So,
awesome.
With that being said,
there's another episode.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Thriving Tides. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
Follow us, Thriving Tides, on Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube to stay connected. And remember, don't fight the rip currents.